She was the first girl in her compound to gain admission into university. Her parents sold their only land to send her to school. But one weekend trip with her roommate, and she came back dying. What did she do in Abuja? And why did her breasts begin to swell? Sit back and watch this real warning disguised as a story. In the crowded compound of Akure, where families shared a courtyard, where dreams go to die and poverty never leaves, there lived a girl named Banker. She was 20 years old and tired of being poor, tired of neighbors laughing when JAM results came out, the university entrance exam results, tired of wearing the same 3 dresses to church, tired of her mother's quiet tears when there was no money for soup ingredients. But Banker had something poverty couldn't kill: hope. For 2 hard years, she failed JAM. Twice. The compound gossips had field days. That girl thinks she's too smart. See where it landed her? Her father is just wasting money. Let her go learn a trade. But on a Tuesday morning, that changed everything. Banker's phone buzzed with a message that made her scream so loud the entire compound thought she was dying. Congratulations! You have been offered admission into the University of Calabar. The same neighbors who mocked her now gathered around like she was royalty. Ah, Banker has made us proud. See how God works. But as the celebration died down, old Mama Sikirat, the compound's fortune teller, grabbed Banker's wrist with trembling fingers. "My daughter," she whispered, her voice like dried leaves, "I see something dark following you to that school. Be careful of friends who shine too bright. Some light is fire, and fire burns." Banker laughed it off. She was young. She was finally going to university. What could go wrong? Everything. The night before her departure, Banker's parents called her into their tiny kitchen. The single bulb flickered like a dying flame, throwing moving shadows on their tired faces. Her mother looked older than her 45 years. Her father's hands were rough from years of building other people's dreams, while his own family's dreams collected dust. "Banker, my daughter," her mother began, her voice heavy with unspoken fears. "This school you are going to, it is not your village." Banker nodded, though she didn't fully understand. "Listen to me very well," her father said, leaning forward. "We sold your grandfather's land to pay your school fees. That land was our only inheritance. We gave it up because we believe in you." The weight of that sacrifice hit Banker like a slap. Her grandfather's land, the only thing of value their family had ever owned. "Promise us," her mother continued, tears gathering in her eyes. "No shortcuts, no sugar daddies, no friends who will tell you that your body is your business. Your body is God's temple, and temples are not for rent. I promise, Mama." "And no boys promising you heaven with their money," her father added. "The money that comes too easy. It always costs more than you can afford to pay." Banker's mother pressed her palm against her daughter's chest, right over her heart. "Don't forget whose child you are," she whispered. "You carry our prayers, our sacrifice, our hope. Don't throw it all away for temporary shine." As Banker hugged her parents goodbye, she felt invincible. She was armed with their love, their prayers, their sacrifice. She had no idea she was walking into a trap that had been set long before she was born. Calabar amazed Banker like seeing color TV for the first time. Everything was bigger, brighter, louder. The streets hummed with life. The university campus sprawled like a small city, filled with students who walked with the confidence of people who belonged. Banker felt like she didn't belong in her simple clothes and used bag. Her hostel room was a blessing and a curse. She shared it with Amaka, a girl so beautiful that conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Amaka had the kind of confidence that came from never wanting for anything. Designer perfumes, silk bonnets, phones that cost more than Banker's entire tuition. "Welcome to Calabar, babe," Amaka said on their first night, painting her nails a shade of red that looked like fresh blood. "Hope you're ready to upgrade your life." Banker watched Amaka's social media like studying for an exam. Pool parties, expensive restaurants, hotels with marble floors and gold fixtures. Every picture was tagged with hashtags that felt like foreign languages. #softlife, #level up, #big girl things. The whispers started during her second week. Banker was walking back from the library when she overheard a group of girls talking in hushed, excited tones. 30,000 naira for one ushering job. 3 days in Abuja. 5-star hotel. Just smiling and serving drinks. Banker's ears perked up like a hungry dog hearing the rustle of food. 30,000 naira was more money than her family saw in 3 months. She mentioned it to her coursemate Jude, a quiet boy from Enugu who reminded her of her younger brother. Banker, he said, his voice serious, that kind of money. It doesn't come from just smiling and serving drinks. Stay away from things that sound too good to be true. But the seed was planted. That night, as she watched Amaka post another picture from yet another expensive outing, Banker felt something ugly growing in her chest. Envy. She wanted to shine too. She wanted to post pictures that made other girls jealous. She wanted to send money home to her parents and see pride in their eyes instead of worry. She wanted the soft life, and soft life was about to show her just how hard it could bite. "Babe, you're perfect for this job," Amaka said, showing Banker the message on her phone. "My guy has texted me. He needs fine, intelligent girls for a political conference in Abuja. Easy work, easy money." The message was from someone called Ogre Events. Professional, looked real. "But what exactly will we be doing?" Banker asked. "Ushering, guiding VIPs to their seats, serving drinks, taking pictures. These politicians like to show off with fine girls around them. It's just packaging, babe. Nothing serious." Banker hesitated. Her mother's warnings echoed in her mind. "But 90,000 naira for 3 days. I've done it before," Amaka continued. "Last year I made enough money to buy my laptop and still send money home. Look at me. Am I not still standing? Am I not still the same Amaka, you know?" The chartered bus that picked them up was luxury itself. Leather seats, air conditioning, bottled water. The other girls on the bus looked like models, tall, confident, glowing. Banker felt like she was living in a movie. The hotel in Abuja was even more impressive. Marble floors so clean you could see your reflection. Elevators that moved like silk. Rooms with beds bigger than her family's entire living room. "See this life," she whispered to herself, standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the glittering city. "This is how I want to live." The first night seemed real. Banker wore a fitted red dress with silver embroidery. She stood in a ballroom that looked like something from a fairy tale, guiding well-dressed men to their seats. The men were polite, professional. They called her my dear and beautiful, but nothing felt inappropriate. She began to relax. Maybe Jude was wrong. Maybe this was exactly what it seemed. Easy money for easy work. But as the night wore on, she noticed things. The way certain men's eyes lingered too long on the girls. The way some girls disappeared for long periods and returned looking different. The way Amaka kept checking her phone and smiling secret smiles. On the second night, a tall man in an expensive agbada approached Banker during a quiet moment. "You're new," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir." "You're different from the others, more innocent." His smile made her skin crawl. "That's rare these days, very valuable." Banker forced a smile and excused herself to the bathroom. Something was wrong. She could feel it in her bones, in the way her mother's prayers seemed to whisper warnings in her ear. But she was already here, already committed, already counting the money in her head. One more day. She could survive one more day. Then she would go back to Calabar, back to her books, back to the straight and narrow path her parents had laid out for her. She had no idea that some paths, once taken, don't lead back home. On the final night, Banker was in her hotel room, packing her few belongings and counting down the hours until payment time, when the knock came. 3 firm raps on the door. "Who is it?" Amaka called casually, as if she'd been expecting this. The door opened without an answer. A man stepped in, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in all black. His face looked like it had been carved from stone. "You," he said, pointing directly at Banker. "Come." Banker's blood turned to ice water. "Me? Why?" "Don't ask questions. Just come." "But Banker, Amaka snapped, her voice sharp with impatience. What is wrong with you? Do you want your money or not? Go. The hallway felt endless. Banker's legs moved like they belonged to someone else. The man walked ahead of her, his footsteps silent on the plush carpet. They stopped at a suite at the end of the hall. Suite 1205. The door opened into luxury that made the rest of the hotel look modest. Persian rugs, gold-framed mirrors, crystal chandeliers. The air was heavy with expensive perfume and something else, something that made Banker feel sick. In the center of the room, seated in a chair that looked more like a throne, was a man. Alhaji Tukur. He was older than her father, with grey hair and a face that spoke of power and cruelty in equal measure. When he smiled, Banker felt like a mouse that had just noticed the cat. "Ah," he said, his voice like honey poured over broken glass. "So you are the one Amaka told me about, the innocent one." Banker's mouth was too dry to speak. "Sit down, my dear." She sat on the edge of an ornate chair, every muscle in her body ready to run. "I have a proposition for you," Alhaji Tukur said, studying her like she was a piece of meat at the market. "A very generous proposition." Banker nodded, not trusting her voice. "I will pay you 500,000 naira. Cash. Tonight. 500,000 naira." Banker's brain struggled to process the number. That was more money than her family had ever seen at once. "What? What do I have to do?" Alhaji Tukur's smile widened. "Nothing much. Just take off the dress. Let me have what I want. 5 minutes, that, else all it, I'll take. You'll leave richer. I'll leave satisfied." The room spun. Banker gripped the arms of her chair to keep from falling. I can't." "Of course you can. If you don't want to, you are free to leave. But think carefully, my dear. 500,000 naira. Do you know what that money can do for your family, your education, your future?" Banker's mind raced. Her parents' faces flashed before her eyes. The sold land, the sacrifice, the trust. But also, 500,000 naira. She could pay her school fees for the rest of her program, buy her textbooks, send money home. Her parents would be so proud. Banker asked, "That's all you want? Just 5 minutes AP and nothing more?" "Oh, nothing else. I am a man of my word." "And you'll give me the money tonight?" "Cash, before you leave this room." Banker closed her eyes. In the darkness behind her lids, she saw her mother's face, heard her father's warnings, felt the weight of their prayers. But she also saw the worry lines on their faces, the way her mother counted and recounted their small savings, the way her father's shoulders slumped when he thought no one was looking. This money could change everything. It was just her breasts, just 5 minutes, just once. "Okay," she whispered. "What was that, my dear?" "Okay, I'll do it." Alhaji Tukur's smile was the last thing she remembered clearly. What happened next was a mix of shame and horror that her mind tried to forget. When it was over, she found herself dressed again, sitting on the edge of the massive bed, staring at a briefcase full of money. 600,000 naira, Alhaji Tukur said, snapping the briefcase shut and sliding it toward her. "Keep the extra 100,000. You were exceptional." Banker took the briefcase with trembling hands. "Thank you, sir." "No, my dear, thank you. You have given me something very precious. More precious than you know." She stumbled back to her room in a daze, the briefcase feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Amaka was waiting, scrolling through her phone. "How was it?" she asked without looking up. "Fine, it was fine." "Good, welcome to the real world, babe. You'll get used to it." But as Banker lay in the hotel bed that night, clutching the briefcase full of money, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had lost something far more valuable than what she had gained. She just didn't know what it was yet. Banker returned to Calabar as a different person. Gone were the simple dresses and modest accessories. She shopped like someone who had never been poor. Designer clothes, expensive perfumes, jewelry that caught the light and held it hostage. Her transformation was the talk of the campus. "Banker has blown," students whispered as she walked by. "Where is she getting all this money? It's definitely a sugar daddy." But she was quiet before. Something has happened. Some students flocked to her, drawn by the magnetic pull of sudden wealth. Others avoided her, sensing something they couldn't name but didn't trust. Banker basked in the attention. For the first time in her life, she was the one people wanted to be like. She posted pictures on social media with captions like, "God's timing is the best," and "Level up season." She sent 200,000 naira home to her parents. Her mother called, crying with joy. "Banker, where did you get this money?" "Just some side hustle, Mama. Don't worry, your daughter is making you proud." For 2 glorious weeks, Banker lived in a bubble of newfound confidence and material comfort. Then the pain started. It began as a dull ache in her chest. Nothing serious, probably just her period coming early. But the ache didn't go away. It grew stronger, sharper, more insistent. Then came the leaking. Banker woke up one morning to find her nightgown soaked with something she couldn't explain. The dampness clung to her chest, and a creeping dread settled into her bones. "What is happening to me?" She rushed to the campus clinic. The doctor, a tired-looking man in his 50s, examined her with gentle hands and concerned eyes. "It's likely hormonal," he said. "Sometimes stress or changes in diet can cause these symptoms. I'll prescribe some medication. If it doesn't improve in a week, come back." Banker took the medication religiously, but instead of improving, her condition worsened. The leaking increased. The fluid changed from clear to yellow to a sickly green. Her chest grew heavier each day, aching with a pressure that no doctor could explain. It felt like something unnatural was building inside her. She started wearing loose clothing to hide the changes, avoided mirrors, skipped classes when the pain became unbearable. The whispers on campus changed too. Banker is always covering herself these days. Something is wrong with that girl. Maybe it's juju following the money she collected. Amaka, once her closest friend, became distant. Their conversations became stilted, uncomfortable. "Are you all right?" Amaka asked one day, not really looking at her. "I'm fine," Banker lied. "Good. Because you know, what happens in Abuja stays in Abuja. No need to go around telling stories." The message was clear. Whatever was happening to Banker, she was on her own. One morning, 3 weeks after returning from Abuja, Banker woke up screaming. Her bed was drenched in something foul. Her body had distorted into something unrecognizable, swollen, leaking, reeking of something neighbors said smelled like death itself. She could barely walk, could barely breathe. That was the day she called her parents and told them she was coming home. "Jesus Christ, Banker, what happened to you?" Her mother's scream when she saw her daughter at the bus station could be heard 3 streets away. Banker looked like a ghost of herself. Pale, thin, hunched over from the weight of her horribly swollen chest. She wore the largest clothes she could find, but they couldn't hide the horror beneath. Her father stood frozen, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "Mama, something is wrong with me," Banker whispered, collapsing into her mother's arms. They didn't waste time with questions. The first hospital, then the second, then the third. Every doctor gave the same confused diagnosis: "We don't know what this is." Blood tests came back normal. X-rays showed nothing unusual. Medical scans showed only huge swelling with no clear reason. "Medically speaking," one doctor told them bluntly, "this doesn't make sense. I've never seen anything like it." At the 5th hospital, a young doctor pulled Banker's parents aside. "I'm going to say something that might sound unprofessional," he said, lowering his voice, "but in my opinion, this looks more spiritual than medical. You might want to consider other forms of help." Banker's father, a proud man who believed in education and science, rejected the suggestion initially. "We are educated people. We don't do those things." But as Banker's condition worsened, her breasts growing larger, the smell becoming unbearable, her strength fading by the day, desperation won. They heard about Pastor Kunle from a neighbor, a man who was said to solve impossible cases, heal the unhealable, break curses that medicine couldn't touch. The church was small but vibrant, filled with the kind of faith that moves mountains and breaks chains. Pastor Kunle took one look at Banker, and his face grew grave. "My sister," he said, his voice heavy with sadness, You have given away something that wasn't yours to give. Banker's parents looked confused, but Banker felt her blood turn to ice. What do you mean, Pastor? Her mother asked. Some things are sacred, Pastor Kunle explained. The body is a temple. When that temple is desecrated in certain ways, by certain people, spiritual doors open that should remain closed. He turned to Banker. You must confess. What happened? Who did this to you? Banker's lips trembled. She had kept the secret locked away, buried under shame and lies. But under Pastor Kunle's penetrating gaze, the truth came pouring out like poison from a wound. There was a man, in Abuja. He paid me to let him. The words stuck in her throat like thorns. Say it, child, the truth will set you free, but first it must be spoken. Through tears and shame, Banker told them everything. The ushering job, Amaka's deception, Alhaji Tukur's offer, her desperate decision. Her mother's wail could wake the dead. Her father aged 10 years in 10 seconds. After everything we taught you, her mother cried, after all our warnings, after we sold our land. I'm sorry, Mama, I didn't know this would happen. Pastor Kunle waited for the storm of emotions to pass before speaking. This Alhaji Tukur is not an ordinary man, he said. Some men collect luxury watches, others collect real estate. But this one, he collected something that could never be bought, and once taken, could never be returned. What he took from you was not just physical, it was spiritual, ancestral, generational. Can you help her? Banker's father asked, his voice breaking. There is only one way. She must confront him, face to face, demand the return of what was stolen, but… Pastor Kunle paused. Finding him will not be easy, and even if you find him, he may not be willing to let go of what he has claimed. Hope and despair warred in the room like light and shadow. We have to try, Banker's mother said, steel entering her voice. I will find this devil myself if I have to. Banker's mother, armed with nothing but a mother's love and a prayer warrior's faith, boarded a bus to Calabar the next morning. She found Amaka in the hostel, looking as beautiful and carefree as ever. Designer clothes, perfect makeup, not a care in the world. Good afternoon, my daughter, Banker's mother said, her voice carefully controlled. I am Banker's mother. Amaka's smile faltered slightly. Oh, good afternoon, Ma. I need your help. My daughter is dying. Please, in the name of God, tell me how to find Alhaji Tukur. Amaka's face went blank. Ma, I don't know what you're talking about. Please don't lie to me, Banker's mother begged, tears streaming down her face. My daughter said you were there. You introduced her to him. Ma, Banker must have told you lies. I have never been to any Abuja with her. I don't know any Alhaji Tukur. But she said Ikeya. She lied to you. Amaka's voice was cold, final. Maybe she was doing runs and didn't want you to know. Don't come here and accuse me of what I didn't do. She slammed the door in the face of a grieving mother. Meanwhile, in Akure, Banker's condition had become nightmarish. Her breasts were now so large and heavy that she couldn't stand upright. The smell was so powerful that neighbors complained. The fluid leaking from her body had turned black and was eating through fabric. Traditional healers came and went, shaking their heads in defeat. This is beyond our power, one old Babalawo admitted. Whoever did this to her is very powerful. We cannot break what we cannot understand. Banker's father sold everything they owned, their television, their furniture, even his wedding ring, to pay for more treatments, more prayers, more desperate attempts at healing. Nothing worked. One night, as Banker lay on a mat on the floor, she could no longer fit in any bed. She looked at her parents with eyes that had seen too much pain. Mama, Papa, I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry I threw away everything you gave me for money that is already finished. Her mother held her hand and wept. We love you, my daughter. We will never stop trying to save you. But they all knew the truth. Time was running out. When Banker's mother returned from Calabar, empty-handed and heartbroken, the last thread of hope snapped. She denied everything, she told her husband and daughter. That girl looked me in the eye and said she doesn't know any Alhaji Tukur. Banker wasn't surprised. Deep down, she had always known that Amaka was not her friend. Friends don't lead friends into the lion's den and then lock the door behind them. "We will find another way," her father said, but his voice lacked conviction. They tried everything. Contacted police, who laughed at their spiritual complaints. Hired a private investigator, who found no trace of anyone named Alhaji Tukur. Even reached out to other girls who had gone to Abuja, all denied knowing anything. It was as if the man had never existed. But his handiwork was very real, very present, very much destroying their daughter before their eyes. Banker's body had become something unrecognizable. Her chest darkened, heavy, pulsing like it no longer belonged to her. She could barely eat, barely drink. Even her breath felt borrowed. Her skin had turned grey, and her breath came in shallow gasps. The local pastor came to pray. The imam came to read Quran. The traditional priest came to pour libation. All left shaking their heads. "Only the one who did this can undo it," they all said. On a Thursday morning, exactly 2 months after her return from Abuja, Banker woke up with blood in her mouth. "Mama," she called weakly. Her mother rushed to her side. I can't feel my legs." That afternoon, her chest began to bleed through her clothes. Not the usual leaking, but fresh red blood that soaked everything it touched. "We need to get her to the hospital," her father shouted. But as they tried to lift her, Banker screamed in agony. Her body convulsed violently, like something inside was clawing its way out. The end came on a Friday morning, just as the sun was rising. Banker had been unconscious for 2 days, her breathing shallow and labored. Her parents had taken turns holding her hands, whispering prayers and promises and apologies. At 6:47 a.m., she opened her eyes one last time. "Mama," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm here, my baby. Mama is here. Tell them. Tell the other girls. Don't follow friends. Don't take the quick money. It's not worth it." Her body gave one last violent heave. The thing inside had reached its limit, and whatever had taken root in her burst free, leaving behind a silence so thick it made her mother fall to her knees. The smell was indescribable. Banker took one last rattling breath and then was still. At 20 years old, with dreams unfulfilled and a future unmade, she was gone. Her mother's scream shattered the morning silence and brought the entire compound running. Her father fell beside the bed, looking much older from grief and guilt. "My daughter," he whispered, "my poor, poor daughter." The burial was small, quiet, filled with the kind of sorrow that settles into bones and stays there forever. Banker's dreams died with her, her university admission expired, unused. Her parents never recovered. Her mother stopped speaking for months, her father's hair turned completely white within weeks. 6 months later, Amaka graduated with honors. She posted a picture on Instagram, cap and gown, bright smile, surrounded by family and friends. The caption read, "God's time is the best. Bachelor's degree secured. We USR. #blessed, #graduate, #level up." She never mentioned Banker, not once. When classmates asked about her former roommate, Amaka would shrug and say, "I heard she dropped out. Some family issue." At her graduation party, someone brought up the rumors about Banker's death. "I heard it was some kind of curse," a girl whispered. "Something about her going to Abuja with older men." Amaka sipped her champagne and laughed. People and their superstitions. The girl probably just got sick. It happens. But that night, alone in her new apartment, Amaka found herself checking and rechecking her locks, looking over her shoulder, jumping at shadows. Because deep down, she knew the truth. She had fed her friend to a monster and walked away clean. But monsters, once fed, are always hungry for more. As for Alhaji Tukur, or Chief Omegu as he was known in certain circles, he was never found. The police claimed no such person existed. The hotel in Abuja denied any knowledge of him. But the whispers continued. Other girls, other trips, other ushering jobs that led to hotel rooms where innocent dreams went to die. The cycle continued, because there will always be girls like Banker, poor, desperate, trusting, and there will always be monsters like Alhaji Tukur, patient, powerful, hungry. And there will always be friends like Amaka, beautiful, empty, willing to sacrifice others for their own comfort. Today, in the compound in Akure, where Bankare once laughed and dreamed, there hangs a picture of her in her secondary school uniform. Smiling, hopeful, full of the kind of brightness that poverty couldn't dim. Under the picture, her mother has written in fading ink, Bankare Adebayo, 1990 to 2010. Daughter, student, dreamer, taken too soon by the lie that quick money has no consequences. Visitors who see the picture often ask about the beautiful girl in the photo. Her mother tells them the story, all of it, holding nothing back. Tell your daughters, she always ends. Tell your sisters, tell your friends. No money is worth your soul. No friend who leads you into darkness is a friend at all. And remember, the soft life they show you on social media. Sometimes it's built on the bones of girls who believed the lie. Because Bankare's story is not unique. Right now, in hostels across Nigeria, girls are getting messages about ushering jobs in Abuja. Right now, friends are convincing innocent girls that their bodies are just business opportunities. Right now, monsters in expensive clothes are setting traps for the next Bankare. The only question is, will you be wise enough to say no? Will you remember the girl who traded her future for 500,000 naira and paid with her life? Will you choose the harder path, the path of patience, dignity, and honest work? Or will you follow your friend to that hotel room and never come back the same? The choice is yours. But remember, Bankare, remember what happened to the girl who thought she could touch fire and not get burned. Remember and choose wisely, because your life, your real life, your future, your soul, is worth more than all the money in the world. Share this story, save a life, honor Bankare's memory by making sure her death was not in vain. The end. Quick money is a crooked road. One wrong decision can cost you everything. Choose your friends wisely, for they can either build you or bury you.